Your air conditioning system, when the heat is on, is working overtime. The systems that you have in your home or your building are designed within certain design parameters, certain temperature ranges. The ranges that the engineers feel for that particular climate are going to be typical for it to operate in. Now, there's going to be times that they operate outside of those design parameters. Excessive cold, excessive heat, right? The cold would obviously be for a furnace or a heat pump. But on the air conditioning side, whether it's a traditional AC or part of a heat pump system, operates pretty much the same way. It's going to be operating at its extreme, maybe even outside of its design parameters. So when they design systems, they can't cover every single scenario. If you normally have 90-degree days and you get a 105-degree day, that is outside of most systems' design parameters, depending on where you live. It's not designed to operate at those design parameters. Now, if you're in the desert area, think Arizona, Phoenix, Southern California, Palm Springs area. If you're in that area, the systems are designed with different design parameters, right? Higher efficiency systems are installed. And the way you do a heat load calculation and size your system really helps determine if that system can work within the specified region. So if you don't size your system correctly, you're not only taking a system that is operating at extreme temperatures, you're taking a system that isn't designed for that house in normal conditions. So what is it like for the life of an air conditioner, the day in the life of an air conditioner, when it's used to 90 degrees, 95 degrees, and now we got a heat wave? Think 100 degrees, 105, 110, or in some desert climates, 117 to 120 degrees can be experienced. Or think areas like Florida, right, where you've got heat and then you've got a lot of humidity. Think in those terms, and now think what it would be like for you exercising in 70-degree temperatures, or even those 90-degree temperatures, maybe temperatures you're normally used to for that time of year. The humidity's pretty much what you're used to, and you're conditioned to work out in those conditions. You do it every day, 3 times a week. You go through your workout, and while it's strenuous, it's well within your comfort level because you've conditioned yourself. You're operating within your design parameters. Now, you go out to work out, and it's now 105 degrees. The humidity is much higher. What's it going to be like for you to work out now? Are you going to fatigue earlier? Yes. Are you going to get much more exhausted? Are you going to be able to give as much effort as normal? Most likely not. That's your air conditioning system as well. Now, just like you working out, you may be able to complete your workout, but it might take longer. Same thing with your air conditioning system. If your air conditioning system is older, hasn't been maintained, has any pre-existing issues, it is gonna struggle. Now, even an air conditioning system that's newer, that's been well maintained, and has no issues to speak of, is still gonna struggle to keep your house cool. Why? Well, there's a greater heat load, right? There's more heat. Now, something really important to understand is heat load is not just the temperature outside. That's a big part of it because that's gonna impact the temperature inside. The number of people in the house impacts heat load. If you got 2 people living in a house and then you got company come stay and now you got 6 people living in the house, that contributes to the heat load. Now think dryer running, cooking, all of those type of things contribute to the heat load. But for this point, let's just stick to the temperature. That air conditioning system is going to have to work longer and harder to accomplish reaching the temperature you set it at. So with that in mind, be patient. If you've had your system maintained, you know there's no underlying issues, and it's not an aged system, be patient. If you think it's being excessive time to get the house cool or the building cool, or it's consistently seems to be struggling as the days go on, you might want to get your system looked at. If it's an older system, you know you have issues, you've had it maintained, but there is a concern, then that's really going to take a toll, and it's not going to cool the way it should. Basically, what we have a lot of times, we have systems we call deregulating, right? If you have a 5-ton system, let's say your system is sized right for your home, it's 5 tons, and on a 85-degree day, it operates as a 5-ton. It might operate at 58,000 BTU, right? But take the temperature up to 100 or more. That system actually may deregulate down to a 4-ton. So while it's still cooling, latent heat is the humidity in the air. The capacity that it's putting out is closer to that of a 4-ton. So if your system, your home needs a 5-ton, and now this is deregulated down because of the temperatures to a 4-ton, what's the natural and probable outcome? It's going to take longer to cool your home. So high humidity, another big issue. You have to get that latent heat. Latent heat is the humidity in the air. Think of your temperature here, and you want to get it here. Well, the sensible heat is what you're going to see that you'll actually measure. 80 degrees, 78 degrees, so on and so forth. But it will not start bringing down that sensible heat, that actual temperature that you can feel, until the system pulls out the latent heat. It's going to run. And then once it gets that latent heat out of the air, it's going to start pulling down the sensible heat. How do you know? If it's pulling out a lot of moisture, go outside your house. You have condensate lines. Most homes have two. They should have two. One's a primary, one's a secondary. Primary is usually low to the ground, and you'll see water coming out. You might have a lot of grass growing near it. I've even seen trees that sprouted up near the condensate line because it's constantly feeding it water. The secondary is going to be above a window. Why? Sitting inside, watching TV, you notice water dripping over your window. If that's the case, you have a secondary line that is acting as your backup for the primary condensate line. That's a problem. That means your primary line is clogged or restricted enough that water is having to take the secondary route. You need to get that handled right away. Good news is, if you're handy and you can easily access your condensate line, you may be able to clear it out with a little warm water and some vinegar, if it's not a real bad clog. It's worth a try. If that doesn't work, don't mess around with it. Call an air conditioning company, call the general, get them out there, let them check out the line, let them clear the line properly, because if that secondary backs up, where's the water go? I'll let you figure that one out for yourself. So before your ceiling comes down on you, make sure you keep your condensate lines clean. And any good maintenance program should ensure condensate lines are cleared and clean. Although you could clear one and it could clog up in short order. There's a lot of factors that contribute to that. So just remember, your air conditioning system, when it's hot, is working overtime. It is doing its best to keep you cool. The biggest thing you have to do is be patient. But if you start to experience some concerns, you're like, this is taking too long, this is not moving the temperature at all, what I'm gonna recommend you do before you call us or anybody, check your filter. The reality is the filter tends to be the number one culprit when we get called out to homes where the home is not cooling properly. The system's running, the outdoor unit's running, the indoor unit's running. It's just not bringing down the temperature. We send a technician out. First thing a technician's gonna do, once he goes to the thermostat and make sure all the components are operating, he's gonna go to your filter, he's gonna pull your filter out. And I will tell you, 80% of the time, the filter is to blame. Now, it may not be just the filter, but a filter is the contributing factor. So pull that filter out, change that filter. If it's dirty, put a new filter in, be patient. If it's still not cooling, give us a call.